How are you, man? How are things?
Aye, good man. Busy day.
I know I can see it in your face. When I always say to fighters, those like yourself who are very successful, undefeated, especially both amateur and pro, that the more successful you get, the busier you're gonna get. And like we're doing this interview now, at some point you're gonna need to have like a manager or an agent to schedule and organize the interviews for you because you're gonna have so many people chasing you for your time, man.
Aye, I suppose it's getting busier and busier, as you said, man.
Look, can we start by with talking about your latest bout at PFL Europe, just how when you got a first round finish, first round submission.
Yeah, my opponent there, we got word of him about 2 weeks out, and he was meant to have a fight scheduled in Tajikistan,
Sure.
and luckily we got him shifted over and got it all changed around that he would step in. But before that, about 3 weeks before that, it was just chopping and changing name after name. It was looking like it was gonna be one guy, he was out, next guy, and he's out. It was a whole balls like. Uh, then before that, it was meant to be two different opponents. It was meant to be Jason Ponnet for about. It was meant to be a scheduled fight him. He was good to go for about a month. Before that, it was a Dagestani guy for about a month. So it was all over the show, like same as last camp as well. But luckily we got Abduloev to step in, and I agreed to the fight before I even got a look at him because seen he had a good record, and I just needed to know that I was fighting for sure. Do you know what I mean? So I signed the contract before we looked at him. Got a look at him then, and he had a tricky style. He had a Taekwondo champion, and but as I said, I was just happy to get a fight, and we went in and got the job done. First round, 2.5 minutes, I think it was.
How, I mean, with all the names coming and going, this person says steps up to the player and says, "Yeah, I'll fight. I'll go and step into the cage there with Darragh," and then suddenly they pull out for whatever reason might be. When it happens more than twice, two, three times, I mean,
Mhm.
you didn't get discouraged or anything like that. I mean, how did you stay focused? I think even for this guy that you beat in the first round, you said that you agreed before you even checked his background, how good he was in the cage, what his fight style and fight IQ was like.
Mhm. Yeah, well, like my last two camps now, I've had 10 opponents. You know what I mean? So it's not something that like it's obviously not what you want, but you know it's experience, and I kind of learned after the last camp just to get on with it, not think too much about it. Think less of who's across me and more of what you're going to do. I suppose like it's not ideal, and hopefully next time I'll get one name and it'll stick. But yeah, I was just I don't let it discourage me because at the end of the day, that's how I get paid. So I need to fight, and I'm gonna get in there and fight to the best of my ability every single time. So fuck it, whoever's across me, you know what I mean?
How did you celebrate afterwards? How did you feel after the win?
I well, there was like 70 people from home came over, so we all had a good weekend on the beer and that, and yeah, there's plenty celebrating done. I was happy enough to get home to
Nice.
my bed afterwards. But as for the fight, I said this before. I realised that I didn't go out to Kansas. My fight in June. I didn't go out early enough. I went out 10 days before the fight, and I just wasn't myself. I didn't feel switched on or sharp, and I can only put it down to the jet lag. We changed a wee bit of my rehydration and my refuel and all too, which I think played a part. But that last fight just it showed me that I need more time when I'm going to America to fight. That showed me what I was at 100% in France compared to what I was in Kansas, and I think in Kansas I was only 60 or 70% of what I should be. Um, so that kind of showed me something. I can't remember where I was going with that, but uh,
That's
you get what I'm
that's
saying. All right?
yeah, no, of course, no, absolutely. Look, how are things in the gym? How are things at SBG Islands? And I was gonna ask any Of course, you guys, you need no introduction. But is there any rising stars, any talents that we should, that we're going to be looking forward to seeing in the cage at some point?
Yeah, again, as asked this all week. First name comes to my head's Darragh Sullivan. He's 1-0. He's signed to WoW Championships to Porre's affiliate, or his promotion in Spain. He just went 1-0. I think he beat a 3-0 guy in his first fight, and he looked, he looked like a seasoned pro. Very, very good striker with Thai background. Darragh Sullivan, someone you need to look out for. And then Ike Mma as well, is turning pro. Veteran of the amateur game. He's looking to make his pro debut now. I think at this stage it's going to be in the new year, but he's I think he was a wee bit undersized for a while and was relying too much on his skills. And now he's bulked up to he's the same size. He's a decent sized flyweight now. I think he put on maybe 6 or 7 kilo, forced the weight on, forced the muscle on, done it right. And I think you'll see a new Ike Mma now in the new year as well. Yeah.
Darragh, you are a four-time champion. You're undefeated both in your amateur career and in your pro career. Look, what makes a really successful fighter? Is it the individual, or is it the corner, or is it the coach? Would you say it's just a combination of all those three factors?
Oh well, it's definitely a combination of everything. Like you if you're missing something, it's gonna show. Like you need their sparring partners, you need the coaching, you need to be disciplined yourself in every aspect of the game, wanting to learn, forcing yourself to learn, being strict on your diet, getting your training in, getting the road work done, sprints, everything. You have to tick every box, and I suppose all of that just comes down to discipline, really, and approaching everything in the smartest way possible. Because you can show up, and you can work like a dog, but if you're not smart about it, like you're not going to improve. So there's a lot that goes into it. Like there's the main thing is the discipline for sure.
You're a MMA fighter, but anyone who met you in the street, I have to say that if I didn't know anything about the fighting aspects of your life, I'd say that you just come across as a really well articulated gentleman. I mean, do you get that quite a bit from people who maybe don't know about who you are properly?
Um, well, I don't know if I'd say that about myself, but I'll take it. A lot of people say to me I don't come across as a fighter. Um, I'm not sure. I'm not sure why that is. Maybe I should put on a scowl on my face a bit more and change a wee bit. I don't know, but no, I switch it on when it comes to it. I've got that in me as much as the next man, and when it comes to the cage, I think I've got more of it than anyone, to be honest. So that comes out when I need it.
9-0 undefeated. Who, when you think about it, comes to mind as your toughest opponent?
Toughest opponent. It's hard to say. I think one of my amateur fights, a fight that I probably only won it one out of 10 times at that stage of my career, was Constantine Blanita. That was my fifth amateur fight. I was only training like just over a year, maybe a year and a half max, and I was a complete beginner. If anything, I was a good athlete with a bit of dog in me, and that was it. Didn't know much, and I was fighting this guy for the belt in Ike Mma that was he was wrestling his whole life. He had more than twice the experience of me. He had beaten a teammate of mine who was training years and years before me and was wiping the floor with me and training at the start. And really, I had no business being on there with him, but I made my coach basically give me the shot, like, and Barney had a great game plan. Brian Coyle, Healing Gracie, and he made me drill. I think it was 80 reps a night of rolling knee bars because he knew that your man, ended up in the body lock position from the back every single time he fought. So he knew we would be there. And as I said, 80 rolling knee bars every single training session he made me do because he probably knew that there wasn't many avenues to victory. And he thought if we get in that position that your man's been in every single time, you pull it off. And right enough, he took my back in the body lock, and it kind of froze because he was giving it to me for the first two rounds. And Barney shouted in saying, "You've been here, you know what to do now." And rolling knee bar. So the thousands of reps he had me doing in those 6 weeks paid off. That was probably my toughest fight, but just because of my experience level at that stage of my career.
You mentioned that in the particular fight that you said that basically that your opponent had no business being in the octagon with you. Now, do you say that because basically the situation that you put in basically was kind of like a very uneven playing field? You weren't given the opportunity to really show your fight IQ and of course your talent. Is that the stance you're coming from?
No, I said I had no business being in there with him at that
Right.
stage of my career because he had so much more experience than me. I was a beginner with a year and a half training, whereas he was wrestling his whole life. You know,
Right.
so it was kind of like I thought that the amateur belt was. I thought this would be fucking class, like winning an amateur belt.
I see what you
So
mean.
I said to my coach, "Fuck it, let me at least try." Like so, went and pulled it off.
No, I see what you mean. Well, for me, I was coming from the stance of when that does happen as a fighter, of course, looking out for yourself. Do we, I mean, do you approach your managers and your agents and say, look, just basically more or less in a nutshell, please make sure this doesn't happen again? Because, of course, you want to make sure that you perform your best when you're in the cage, then look your best as well.
Oh, for sure. You have to be, you have to be smart. That's mainly down to your manager and your coaches, I suppose. Like any name that's ever been given to me, I've never said no to anyone, and I suppose you could say that's not smart, but I always back myself. Um, and that ego kicks in too, where you think, "Fuck, I can beat him," whatever, and you might not be stacking the chips in your favor, but that's a fighter's attitude. Everyone's going to do that. I think it's down to your coaches in your corner. If they get a name that they say, right, maybe we need another year before we fight this guy, before
Mhm.
we step him up this bit more, maybe then don't even mention it to me or mention it to your fighter, not me personally. You know what I mean?
Yes, yeah.
Decline it behind his back. So because the fighter will probably want it and probably push for it. And, we're all very fucking touchy people, self centered. So maybe if I know that they turn down some fighter by my back, and if they don't think I can beat this guy, like might rub me up the wrong way. But you have to be smart, so it might just be better to turn a blind eye and don't let me know, or everyone in that case, because at the end of the day, the longer you stay unbeaten, the more hype you get, the more money you make. So
Mhm.
there's thinking involved as well.
You did say to me the other day, and I learned this for the first time, you run a sauna business.
Yeah, we have two mobile saunas now. Me and my friend up at home in Donegal, so they're going well. We run them just at the weekends, and we do private bookings during the week. So you know, passive income for us, nice.
Yeah, yeah, no, I like that. So, where did well, you might say it's like a silly question, but where did the idea come from? And you said at the weekends, at some point, I mean, you're going to grow the business. You'll, of course, how do I say, you get some other individuals to look after it for you whilst you're concentrating on your fighting.
Yeah, like the idea came. I was gonna get one for my house, and then I thought to myself, they were popping up all over the country. These portable saunas. So I thought if I'm buying one, I may as well put it by the sea. It's gonna be more enjoyable. I can do the cold dips as well. And then if I'm doing all this anyway, I may as well make money from it. And I know the benefits you get from using it because I do it myself. Like so, I thought, two birds, one stone. Opened up the business. We'd opened the first one, Shrove. It's about 10 minutes away from the house. Flying, so we opened the second one then, 15 minutes in the opposite direction, and it's even busier now than Shrove, so it's going well.
Um, I don't think I asked you this question the last time we spoke, but If you're given the opportunity, the choice, who would be your dream opponent and which location?
Yeah, another question I've been asked a few times this week. My dream opponent. I'm not sure about my dream opponent. I'll change it to my next opponent. I would like that.
Okay.
So I said this on a couple of interviews this week, but I was scheduled to fight Jacob Kazuba in Saudi Arabia last in June. And they brought the fight forward 2 weeks and changed the location to Kansas. So maybe he was too heavy, or I don't know. But the 2 weeks difference was a game changer, so he pulled out. Um, so that's that fight was meant to happen. I think make that happen again. I'm 18-0. Said this in another podcast as well. I'm 18-0, and I think he's 24-0. So over 40 fights combined, undefeated, and I think it's a perfect matchup to see who takes that next step. And I think I beat him. So I think that's a big name to take in a big fight. Two-time European champion. He's beat everyone he's fought. He's finished a lot of them. I think that's the fight to make.
Now, what is one thing that fight fans don't know about you?
Hmm. I don't think they know very much about me, but I don't know if there's anything all that interesting either. Um, fuck, I don't do much other than fighting, to be honest. Like, no, there wouldn't be much exciting about me.
And yeah, I think you did say Jacob Kazuba. But I was going to ask you, when's your next fight date? Has that been anything in the works? Any names?
No, there's nothing, yet. Like, do you know when Artem Lobov was meant to fight in, was it in Dubai on Paul Hughes's card? And he was fighting Khabib's guy. I can't say his name, Zabariyov or whatever you call him. I'm not sure how to say his name, but you know that fight was happening, and Artem had to pull out with a cut.
Yes, yeah, yeah.
Uh, that was like, I think it was the Tuesday after my fight, so it was like 5 days after my fight, or whatever it was, 4 days, whatever. And he pulled out, so I offered to step in for that, but I was under a 7 day suspension from France, so that ruled me out of that. So I was offering to step in the week later, in on Paul Hughes's card. So that would have been perfectly. I was ready to go again because I was already in shape. All the work's done. Give me the second payday in the week. But anyway, it didn't come. Didn't come. Then I put my name forward for Leon in December, and no word on that either. So I'm going to go to Thailand, and I'm going to finish the year training out in Thailand. Stay busy, keep trying to improve, and realistically now, I think it's going to be probably spring next year. So in an ideal world, I would like to fight 3 or 4 times, but getting
Mm.
2 years, so it is what it is.
Thailand, I think that their main, how should I say, their staple sport there, which is headed by, is it One Championship? I heard the guys over there, they fight like, say, God, I was given a crazy number, like 30, 50 fights in 1 year or so.
Crazy, isn't it? Fucking nuts, man.
Really crazy. Um,
Imagine the brain trauma them hers are taking. The bodies be broke up.
exactly, exactly.
Mm.
Um, PFL Lyon's is coming up in December. Any particular fights you're looking forward to see on that card?
Well, I suppose the two finals of the European tournaments at who was it over there? It was bantamweight and lightweight.
Hmm.
So I think Dean Garnett. Looking forward to seeing his fight. He's in the final, and the other final is Connor Hughes, and I can't say his name, the Latvian who fought Claudio there. So two boys in my division. Looking forward to seeing that too.
And last but sorry, but last but by no means least, any shout outs you want to give? I'm sure by now the list is even longer than the last time I asked you that question.
Uh, there's too many people to shout out. Massive thanks to all my sponsors. backing me the whole time, the whole career. Anything I need goes a massive, massive way. Everyone who comes over and supports me too. That that makes it all the better. I realized that when I was in Kansas that when you're over and there's no one with you, it's not the same buzz. Like it's fucking brilliant crack when everyone gets away. So everyone spend their money, come over and support me in France, like, and getting a good weekend's crack out of it. That makes it all the better. So massive thanks to everyone who comes over, everyone who tunes in, messages me and watches, just everyone who supports. They don't have to, so I appreciate every bit of it.
Darragh, thank you once again for coming back on the show and catching up with me. Um, Guys, if you've watched to the end of the episode, thank you very much. Don't forget you can catch the audio versions of this episode on Spotify and Google Podcasts as well as iTunes. Darragh, once again, thank you. I look forward to having you back on the show. Thank you.
Nice one, man. Thank you.
Take care.